context or sort of
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, sort of different in a different context, wasn't it? Where Gary Lineker had to leave, and it wasn't amicable as well, was it? I mean, he didn't want to leave, but he then left. Now I've not actually watched um the what was that program in it? Match of the Day. Yeah, that's it. I've not watched this since Lineker left. Have you?
Well, no, I mean he did the last one, the last
Right,
Saturday night match of the day. I mean, I
right.
guess will be occasional Sunday night matches of the day for. I mean, for example, the playoffs and things like that were still
Yeah,
after the or around the end of the season.
yeah,
But no, it'll be interesting to see the new one next season with
yeah.
Kelly
Ellie
Cates.
Gates. Yeah,
And of course, I think also the other girl, I can't think of her name, but she'll mix it on a Sunday as well with the present guy, won't she, mark somebody? But I
yeah.
think Kelly, I think, is going to be anchored on the Saturday night one. And as I've said before, I think she's an excellent she's an excellent, you know, what the lead person, the lead pundit on Sky as she has been. She really is
Yeah,
first class. So I think
yeah,
she'll be a good fit for match of the day. It'd be interesting to see which pundits they get as well.
yeah,
But yeah, so the new one hasn't really started yet.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
that's
that's
the
true. Yeah, yeah. I mean, watching the England match last night, I saw Mark Chapman. You know, the chap that
yeah, yeah,
you're
that's it.
talking
Yeah.
about, and it was quite good. On ITV when he did presented the you know
Mm.
the friendlies between England and Senegal. Now we're going to come to that now. But first of all, let's go to the first one, Andorra. So England, Andorra. What do you make of it?
Well, yeah, it was a bit disappointing, wasn't it? And in the game last night, I think he started with 10 changes. So maybe that's an issue, which I'll mention in a minute. But yeah, it was disappointing against Andorra. Not the best kind of beginning for Tuchel. You know, he's been around a little while now.
Yeah.
But yeah, perhaps he's got to get his feet under the desk. But
Mm.
overall, that the Andorra game, although England won 1-0, wasn't it? And it
Yeah.
was a Cup qualifier.
Yeah.
So at least they got the points. But in a way, a bit luckily, and you'd think that Andorra might still be one of those sides who really are not in the top echelons of world football, who we
Yeah.
should have done a bit better about, against. So, yeah, but I suppose if you get the points and people and teams sort of, as they say, win ugly, well, so be it. At least they've got
Yeah.
those points. Whereas last night's was a different kettle of fish. It was a very poor performance and was met with boos at half time and at full time, which is a shame. I mean, I don't think it helps when teams are booed like that. And it is early days for Tuchel, to be fair. But people will no doubt find some criticisms in maybe some of his selections and things like that. But yeah, I would say Andorra was disappointing last night to lose. It was 3-1, I think. It was it 3-1. It was, wasn't it?
Was, yeah.
In the end, is a very poor result. I mean, Senegal are rated about 19th in the world, which is a lot better than they used to be. You know, I think
Mm.
years ago they were one of the teams again that were kind of a bit like San Marino has been viewed as very easy meat for the top teams. But they've
Yeah.
got some very good players. In fact, I might say one of their players, Ismaili Sarr, a Palace player, scored one of their goals. So good for him. He's very quick, and they, as far as I could see last night, they, as far as I could see last night, they just looked a better side. Senegal. They had technique, and you could see their confidence as the game went on. They got confident, and they were quick. They were incisive. They could break brilliant defence-splitting passes, and no one would say they didn't deserve to win because they did. And it's always a bit sad when England lose to a team thought to be way below them, but they are, in ranking terms, they are way below them. So, yeah, that's not a good start. But I would just say one thing. I tend to think that these international squads, which get together periodically in ultimate preparation for the tournaments, the Euros and the World Cup, I think the squads are too big. Initially, for example, before a World Cup, a manager has to name, I don't know, I think it's something like 28 players, something like that. And then he reduces it down to about 23 at the beginning or before the beginning of the tournament. So I never quite understand the point of that, unless a manager wants to look at somebody, but then he would have done that. He or she would have done that, shall we say. So, and I think this is one of the problems. As I say, last night he made 10 changes in terms of the starting 11. There were no substitutes in the first half, and to have an England team Friday playing actually not particularly well, but possibly more like the first England team, the first team in his mind, I don't know, to a totally different team, maybe like the second 11 in some cases, not in all cases, because you've got Harry Kane still playing and others who are first teamers. But I think this is the problem. When we used to talk about your friend Gareth Southgate and his his antics, but we know he got to the final, didn't he? He got to the final of the Euros, and he did very well to do that, even if some of us questioned the way he did it. But I used to say, if I were the manager of England, I'm not saying I'd do it well or great, but I would play the basic team that I had in my mind, probably for 3 months, 4 months before, at all the friendlies, all the games leading up to the tournament, so that team gets used to playing with each other. Yeah, you tweak it with substitutes, maybe 3 or 4 substitutes, changes if you need that many, and so on. But because these squads are so big, even the final squad is about 23 players, I think, 22, 23 players, then I think almost by definition, you're going to be choosing some people who are on the periphery of it, who are not quite international standard. And I think, I'm not going to name players last night who I thought are not international standard, because any one of them could have been having an off night and probably